The Zowie S1 and S2 certainly made a lot of noise when they originally released with the Davina series, not just because of the brightly coloured and glossy feels, but also because it was a well-rounded solid mouse with great build quality and great overall performance. Now, a lot of people weren't buying into the baby pink and blues though, and that glossy feel wasn't for everyone, so Zowie have got you covered and now have released the S1 and S2 in matte black finishes. Now, if you've already watched reviews on other channels about the S1 and S2 Davina, you're pretty much already filled in with this mouse and what it's capable of. Now, the only difference here is the colour and the textured feel to the mouse. But I'm going to go through my own personal experience with the S1 and S2 because it's the first time I've had hands-on with these shapes. While I love these bold new colour choices of the Davina series, the glossy textured feel wasn't for me. I have previously used the EC2B for a while and I felt like the grip was constantly morphing in feel, grippy at first for the short period of time and then slimy and oily. I was wiping down the mouse every other game and it was becoming quite a chore. Now I have very dry palms even when in severe heat, but I have many problems with this grip. But switching over to the more traditional matte finishes, no problems whatsoever. I just wish that the S1 and S2 had more colour options in the matte finish. But I know a lot of gamers swear by that glossy texture for that extra grippy sensation. It really comes down to your own personal preference, but I feel if you can't make up your mind on what grip you're looking for, I think you can't really go wrong with the matte finishes. The shape of the mouse is perhaps one of the most important things when picking up a product, and it can be often a bit of a nightmare to choose which is the right size for you. This is why Zowie often design each of their mice with two different sizes of the same model, the S1 being the medium size mouse and the S2 considered the small size. Both mice are ambidextrous by design but only feature thumb buttons on the left side, making this a right-handed mouse only. Sorry lefties. The only difference between the S1 and S2 is the size and weight. Other than that, they are identical. The S1 gives me a choice of multiple styles of grips from claw, fingertip and palm. I have fairly long fingers and the S1 just seems like the perfect size for my hand, whereas the S2 is slightly smaller and I find myself always defaulting to the fingertip grip due to the smaller form factor. Which isn't necessarily a problem for me as my grip has always floated between the palm and fingertip styles. It all depends on the game I'm currently playing, and as of right now I'm playing nothing but Fortnite, so I tend to lean towards the fingertip style to keep my fingers more poised for quicker mouse clicks, faster edits, quicker wrist turns, and also this grip tends to keep my thumb in a better position to hit the side buttons when I need to switch weapons. Now, if I had to pick one mouse out of the S1 and S2, it would be the S1 for the larger frame, as it gives me the ability to relax my hand in other grip styles while I'm not gaming, and I believe you never really want to have your hand in one static and tense pose all day long. It just leads to unnecessary problems down the line. Both mice are under 100 grams and feel light to the touch, and the weight is distributed fairly evenly across the mouse, just slightly heavier towards the front, but it doesn't feel lopsided whatsoever. While there are lighter mouse out there in the market, it has to be said Zowie do such a great job keeping the weight low while keeping a really high quality build that some perforated mice such as Final mice or the Model O just sometimes lack on the button front. Moving on to the sensor, and it's a classic, the 3360. It tracks like a charm, no skips, no glitches, and it's always so nice never having to think twice about sensors going wrong these days. Zowie really do understand how pro gamers think by keeping things pure and simple. There's no software needed for this mouse, it's just plug and go. To change the DPI and the polling rate, just simply look at the bottom of the mouse. You have 4 steps for DPI, 400, 800, 1600 and 3200. It's pretty much what every pro gamer ever wants anyway. It's quick, it's easy, and you never have to add overly cluttered software using this mouse. The only downside to that is non-reprogrammable buttons or macros, but I can live without that. The mouse cable is made from rubber and is quite thin and flexible, better than most mouse cables that I've used out there that come by default, but it's not a paracord or a shoelace. This could be an improvement for later models, what I'm hoping to see, but it's still a top-notch cable nonetheless. Plus the lift-off cable designed to reduce drag is a nice little touch, but I recommend with any wired mouse that you buy a mouse bungee. This will free up the mouse movement considerably. Zowie have done some really great improvements on mouse clicks feeling much lighter and responsive on the S1 and S2, and also the tactile feedback on the thumb buttons is out of this world. It's by far the best thumb buttons on any mouse that I've felt so far. I mean, if I compare it to the EC2B, that thing felt like mush. You'd have to press it in so deep and you'd often compromise your grip on the mouse just trying to press a thumb button. But the S1 and S2, the mouse buttons are positioned perfectly, they're easy to reach, the click is so nice and clean. 10 out of 10 on the thumb buttons. The mouse wheel on the S1 and S2 feels very typical of other Zowie mice, with its slightly hard to press middle mouse button, its rubber grip and large individual steps on its wheel. But it does give you a sense of more control over each individual step, which I kind of like when playing Fortnite, as I use my mouse wheel down to pick up items and my mouse wheel up to reset edits. It gives cleaner feedback to what I'm actually doing in game. But I can also understand what others say about it being slow and clunky, and personally I could leave it or take it with the mouse wheel steps, but I'd like to see improvements on the middle mouse button click, as that would be nicer if it was slightly more responsive. Zowie's mouse feet have always been award winning, let's be honest, with the large footprint, super smooth feel, and also it takes a long time to wear them down, plus you get spares right in the box. Overall, the S1 and the S2 are superb gaming mice, top of their class. There's very little to fault them on. The only things that I can think about changing is maybe adding some side buttons here for the left-handed users, changing out this cord for a shoelace cords. Of course, you can actually do that yourself with paracords, but you know, it'd be nice if it was included with the product as well in future designs. And also the middle mouse wheel, making it just a little bit less stiff when you press it in. And then, man, that is a perfect product for me. The only thing I can think of next is maybe making it wireless, but that's maybe a few steps ahead. Zowie are always the king of shapes. There's no doubt about it. Every time you put your hand on one of their mice, it just feels so good, even if it isn't the right fit for you. I mean, this raised hump on the back on the S1 just fits my hand perfectly. And I main the G Pro wireless, and now I'm really goddamn torn of which mouse I pick, because obviously this shape just fits me just that slight bit better and it just feels so good. So I have a real tough decision to make on which mouse I'm going to be maining, but I think I'll be using the S1 for a couple more days to see how I get on with it. But it is so good, I can't really fault it. And you know, the great thing about Zowie mice is that you always have a choice on shape and size, so make sure when you're looking out for a mouse that you pick out the right size for you, and they cover you in so many different ranges. Also, I'd like to thank Esports Gear for sending out these mice for me. It's very nice of you. It's so nice to have a look at them, and I hope you enjoyed the little overview and review, and let me know what you think in the comments section below.